Oh, okay. So a very good afternoon, everyone. How are you all? So, guys, today we have finally come to a second chapter wherein we will be talking about consumers equilibrium. Consumers equilibrium, right? Rather than consumer equilibrium, this chapter is also called theory of consumer behavior. Okay, so both are one and the same. Let it be very clear. Guys, when I was teaching demand, in the first class of demand, I told you to think from dash point of view. Whose point of view did I ask you to think from? Come on, guys, guess. Whose point of view did I ask you to think from? Yes, you all are absolutely correct. Sir, you have told us to think from the consumer's point of view. Again, this is one of those topics where you will have to think from consumer's viewpoint. Please remember, if you remember this, almost entire questions you will be able to solve. In the chapter demand, as well as in this chapter theory of consumer behavior, one thing we must remember, whose point of view are we thinking from? Sir, we are thinking from consumer's point of view. Come on, everybody. Whose point of view? Consumer's point of view. Very, very good, everyone. All right. So, sir, let's start with our first topic as per the institute's material, and let's see what we can go about. Okay. So, guys, the first topic is wants. We have to study two things about it: meaning, types, and features. Obviously, when I say meanings, obviously, meaning includes both features and the definition of the term want. Okay, human wants. All right. So, guys, there is there is a product available in the market called Mountain Dew. Yes, sir, we remember this. So, whenever you want to remember the definition of wants, now remember this definition: dew. Sir, you are telling us to remember Mountain Dew. No, only the dew part. Sir, why? To be called as want, to be called as a human want, anything will have to have two components. Number one, desire, and number two, effort. I repeat, there are two things. Number one, desire, and number two, effort. So please remember, everyone, if there is desire and effort, both comprised together or both combined together to give what you call as want. So remember, if somebody asks you what are wants, remember human wants are a summation of two things: desire and effort. So basically, if you think of a luxury car, that's just a desire. But if you're working for that luxury car, then luxury car is your want. Please remember, when we have a desire for something and we make efforts to achieve the same, then we call it as wants. Otherwise, it won't be called as wants. Okay. So now there are several characteristics of wants which I want you friend to remember. Okay. So characteristics of wants. Characteristics, or I would rather say features, whatever you want to call it, yeah. It's one and the same thing. Features. Feature number one could be unlimited. Wants are unlimited. Wants are unlimited. Yes, you are absolutely correct. You all see, when we were in class 8, we wanted that class 10 goes well. When class 10 has gone well, we want class 12 goes well. When class 12 has gone already well, then we are expecting CA foundation to go well. Beyond that, we'll expect intermediate level to go well. Beyond that, articleship to go well. Finals to go well. So basically, the process continues. Wants are unlimited. As and when one want is satisfied, another want crops up. So it's pretty easy, you see. Point number two. So first point was wants are unlimited. It's pretty easy, right? Number two, yes, very important. Wants differ in their urgency and intensity. Wants differ in urgency or intensity. Sir, what does it mean? Let's say, guys, we have an exam tomorrow. So, if I have two options, to purchase some stationery for my examination, like calculator or maybe pen, pencil, etc., and then I have another option to, let's say, buy a video game the day before exam. Obviously, it's not wrong to want both, but the urgent thing on the day before the exam would be, pen, pencil, and the other stationery, and not exactly, your video game. So that's what I'm trying to say. That wants differ in their urgency or their intensity is point number two. Next, wants are satiable. Generally wants are satiable means that one want can always be satisfied. Insatiable means something that cannot be achieved. Satiable, that can be achieved. Remember, I told wants are satiable. I didn't say all wants are satiable. All wants cannot be satisfied. All wants cannot be satisfied. In our introduction chapter only I told you that, in our introduction chapter only I told you that wants are unlimited but resources are limited, you see. So that's what I'm trying to say. Therefore all wants cannot be satisfied. We must remember this here. Moving on moving on Sometimes it can happen that a particular want can be satisfied in alternative ways. Particular want can be satisfied in alternative ways. Sir, what do you mean? I'll tell you. Let's say, guys, I'm feeling thirsty, at the moment. I may drink some water. I may drink some, obviously nobody drinks, tea and coffee. But let's say for the time being, I drink tea and coffee. Let's say I can drink a fruit juice. What I'm trying to tell you all is that I had this want to satisfy my thirst, which could be achieved by a lot of means, right? Similarly, guys, you people have the wants to learn economics while you are sitting in the class. This want of learning economics you could have also satisfied when you're taking the institute material, ICI material, and you are reading it. You could satisfy it while sitting in this class. You have chosen to sit in this class. So what I'm trying to say is that there are alternative ways, and we select one of the ways to satisfy each particular want. Okay, so there it is. Moving on. Point number 5. Yes, what you want is definitely affected by things like, your income level, your taste and preferences, the fashion, what is trending in the market, all of this stuff, affect the wants. Yes or no? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, like in every case, we have understood with an example. Wants are unlimited. Like I gave you an example of, desire to clear, want to clear class 10, then 12, stuff like that. Differ in urgency. I gave you an example of wanting video game or stationery before the day of examination. Okay. Wants are satiable. Like if I have a want that I want to write something, this pen can satisfy this want. So for each want, there is a product which can satisfy that want. Particular want, has alternative options. What is it saying? Like for example, your desire to learn economics could have been satisfied by, you reading the book given by institute, you by attending the class organized by institute. What I'm saying is you are choosing a particular medium to learn economics, right? So that is it. There are different ways to satisfy your want. You just choose one of those. Okay. And then wants are affected by income. Definitely, if people of higher income are taken into account, they will have different wants compared to people of lower income. Similarly, their taste, their fashion, everything changes with time being, friends. Okay, moving on. Wants may become habits and customs. Yes, wants may become habit and customs. Let's say, for example, wants may become habits and custom. Let's say, guys, there are two ways to teach. For example, let's say I teach on a board and a marker, the whiteboard that we use in school, and I could teach you this using this digital platform. Now, once we get used to one of those things, like I have got used to this, just for example's sake, okay, just like let's say for example I have used to teaching like this digital mode, using all this technology and stuff. So now this want for technology has become my habit. Now when somebody asks me to shift to board again, I will shift, obviously, but then it would be slightly less comfortable for me compared to what I'm already doing. So that's what they are saying. Wants may become habits and customs, right? Okay, moving on. Wants vary. Absolutely correct. Wants vary with place and time. Wants vary with place, time. Let's say for example, if you go to a place which is very cold, the want for jackets will arise. But if you go to a place which faces summer throughout, anywhere around the equator, like we play places like this, Kuwait and all. So what will happen there? Qatar, places like Qatar, what will happen? You will want to buy lighter clothes. So that is what they are saying. Wants may vary with place and with time. Yes, with time, how, sir? Like for example, initially when we were small, we used to write with pencil. So we used to want pencil. Later on, when the system of this pen came, we started wanting pens. So that's the logic. As we as the time changes, our wants also change. So it's pretty simple and pretty logical too. Now, my dear friends, what I'm going to discuss with you is classification of wants, or rather types of wants. Classification of wants or types of wants. And yes, I will summarize everything in Hindi. I will summarize everything in Hindi. Okay. Also, wants are affected by social norms. Like, if you see the, in your family, like say everyone is wearing kurta pajama, so you will also want to buy that. So these are the social norms and customs. That's pretty simple. Let's say, for example, in general, if you have Punjabi friends, you will see they're wearing a turban. They're wearing a turban. Yes, everybody can wear a turban. There is no problem with that. But you will see generally them wearing the turban. So that has become a part of their social custom, and hence everybody is wanting that. So that's the example of social norms and customs. Now, moving on to classification of wants, and then I will summarize this entire topic in Hindi language as well. Okay, please listen to me very carefully. Types of wants. So it's basically classified into three categories, friends. Necessities, comfort, luxury. What does it mean, sir? Necessity, my dear friends, basically means, like, food, clothing, and shelter. Something which one cannot stay without, like food, clothing, and shelter, right? Sir, comfort, you see, I'm sitting on a chair right now. Okay, guys, is it that I couldn't have sat on the, sat on the floor and taught you? I could have, but just that this chair gives me more comfort. The furniture at our home gives us more comfort. So that is it. That is what they are saying. Types of wants: want for comfort. And luxury means, trying to buy expensive cars, expensive watches. All this is luxury. Okay, expensive watches and everything. Okay. So now, my dear friends, I'll summarize it and then I'll ask you some question. Okay, I'll ask you some questions. Okay, so let's summarize it in Hindi first. Okay, अपने पढ़े wants का मीनिंग. wants का मतलब होता है जब अपने को कोई चीज चाहिए, डिजायर, अपने उसको पाने के लिए मेहनत करें, एफर्ट, तो अपने को मिलता है wants. तो अपने को मिलता है wants. डिजायर प्लस एफर्ट अपने को देता है want. फिर अपने पढ़े फीचर्स ऑफ wants, जिसमें अपने पढ़े कि वांट्स अनलिमिटेड होता है. एक वांट जैसे ही सेटिस्फाई होता है, अपना किसी और चीज का जरूरत पैदा हो जाता है. एक जरूरत पूरी होती है, दूसरी जरूरत फिर पैदा हो जाती है. तो ये था वांट्स आर अनलिमिटेड. उसके बाद अपने पढ़े कि वांट जो है वो समय के साथ और जगह के साथ बदलता है. ठीक है ना. जब हम लोग बच्चे थे, हम लोग पेंसिल से लिखा करते थे, तो हमारा वांट था तब पेंसिल के लिए. एज वी ग्रो अप, हमारा वांट फिर आ गया पेन्स के लिए. सो यहाँ पर ये बात केवल इतना कह रहा है कि जैसे जैसे समय चेंज होता है, आपका वांट बदलता है, या जगह के अनुसार भी आपका वांट बदलता है. अगर मान लीजिए कि मैं किसी यूरोपियन कंट्री में हूँ विच इज वेरी कोल्ड, जो जहाँ पे बहुत ठंड है, तो मेरा वांट फॉर जैकेट्स बढ़ेगा. पर वहीं पर मान लीजिए मैं किसी गर्म कंट्री में हूँ, तो मैं लाइट कपड़े पहनना पसंद करूंगा, तो मेरा वांट फॉर लाइट कपड़ा जो है वो बढ़ेगा. करेक्ट. ये यहाँ पर बताया जा रहा है. ठीक है ना. एक पॉइंट हमने पढ़े कि वांट्स अर्जेंसी में अलग अलग होता है. वांट्स डिफर इन अर्जेंसी. सर, इसका क्या मतलब होता है? आज आप लोग ये समझने की चेष्टा करो कि अगर कल हमारा एग्जाम है, आज हमारे लिए, मेरे को दो चीजें चाहिए. मेरे को पेन, पेंसिल, ये सारी चीजें भी चाहिए, बट एट द सेम टाइम मेरे को वीडियो गेम भी खरीदना है. एग्जाम के पहले वाले दिन ज्यादा अर्जेंट क्या रहेगा? बिल्कुल सही सोच रहे हो आप. पेन, पेंसिल, इरेजर एंड ये सारी चीजें. तो वांट्स अर्जेंसी में डिफर करते हैं, राइट. फिर उसके बाद अपने पढ़े कि एक वांट को सेटिस्फाई करने का ऑल्टरनेटिव तरीके होते हैं. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर मुझे अभी प्यास लगी है, मैं फ्रूट जूस पी सकता हूँ, है ना, मैं पानी पी सकता हूँ, मैं लाइम वाटर पी सकता हूँ, लेमन वाटर पी सकता हूँ, बट मैं एक तरीका चूज करता हूँ टू सेटिस्फाई माई थर्स्ट. सेम लॉजिक से यहाँ पर अपने आगे आते हैं. वांट्स डिफर, वांट्स आर अफेक्टेड बाय इनकम, टेस्ट एंड फैशन. मतलब कि आज सोसाइटी में बाकी लोग कैसे कपड़े पहन रहे हैं, उससे मेरा वांट अफेक्ट होगा. कैसा फूड खा रहे हैं, उससे मेरा वांट अफेक्ट होगा. मेरा इनकम खुद का क्या है, उससे भी मेरा वांट अफेक्ट होगा. तो दोस्तों, ये कुछ पॉइंट्स थी जो हम लोगों ने पढ़े. फिर उसके बाद हम लोग पढ़े तीन तरीके के वांट्स होते हैं. सर, क्या तीन तरीके के वांट्स होते हैं? नंबर वन, नेसेसिटी, फूड एंड क्लोथिंग. ये जरूरी है, इसके बिना इंसान सर्वाइव ही नहीं कर सकता. रोटी, कपड़ा, मकान, फूड, क्लोथिंग एंड शेल्टर. नेक्स्ट, फर्नीचर. अब वांट फॉर कंफर्ट का अर्थ होता है दोस्तों, जिन चीजों से अपने को कंफर्ट मिले. ये कोई लग्जरी नहीं है, बट इनके रहने से अपने को थोड़ा सा कन्वीनियंस होता है. जैसे अगर आपके घर पर बेड है, सोफा है, तो आप कन्वीनियंटली रह पाते हो. कन्वीनियंटली बैठ पाते हो। ये सब नहीं होते तो भी आप जमीन पर बैठ पाते, जमीन पर सोते, राइट। एंड लग्जरी का अर्थ होता है कि जो भी चीज अपने को हायर लेवल चीजें चाहिए, है ना, जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपको चाहिए रोल्स रॉयस गाड़ी, करेक्ट, आपको बंगलो में रहना है, आपको एक्सपेंसिव घड़ी खरीदनी है, तो ये सारी चीजें जो है वो यहाँ पर कवर हो गई। ओके, सो दिस इज द बेसिक समरी ऑफ वॉट एवर वी हैव डन टिल नाउ। ओके, so guys, my question to each one of you, let's start an MCQ question with each one of you. Let's see whether you are able to answer it or not, friends. Come on everyone, my MCQ question for the day is, my MCQ question for the day is, wants are a unlimited, b differing in urgency, c affected by customs and values, d all of the above. D all of the above. What do you think is the correct option, my dear friends? I will tell you the question again. Wants are option A unlimited, option B differing in urgency, option C affected by customers income, option D all of the above. What are the features of wants? 1, 2, 3 or 4? Come on everybody, I need your answer straight away. Very good Bansuri, very good Kodli, very good Gaurav, very good Manas. Mohammad Shadan, good answer friend. Rajveer, good answer dear. Alright Loveleen, correct answer. Yash, correct answer dost. Nimit, correct answer. So yes friends, you have been able to listen to it correctly. The answer is all of the above. Yes, wants are unlimited. Yes, wants differ in urgency. We have discussed it, 5 minutes back. And yes, they are affected by customers' income. So all the above are the correct features of wants. Absolutely good answer, friends. Moving on. Now, friends, I am arriving at a concept called equilibrium. Now, I am discussing with you all a concept. Before I am discussing equilibrium, I will be discussing with you all a concept. Sir, what is it exactly called? The concept is called utility. The concept is called utility. Okay, sir. So, we are doing the topic utility, right, sir? Yes. Pay attention, everyone. Pay attention, everyone. Okay. Sir, what is utility is the question that will crop up in each of our minds. Okay, what is utility? And here starts the main part of this chapter. So first of all, I'll answer this question, friends. What is utility? And then different concepts related to it also I'll teach you all. Okay, so pay attention, friends. Number one, what is utility? Friends, it is the want satisfying power of a commodity. It is the want satisfying power of a commodity. Sir, what do you mean by want satisfying power of a commodity? Please pay attention, everyone. Please pay attention, everyone. Okay? Want satisfying power of a commodity. My dear friends, first thing I'll request you all to remember, utility and usefulness are two different things. Utility and usefulness are two different things. So please do not think about the same. Utility is something else and then usefulness is something else. If a commodity is able to satisfy my want, full stop, it has utility. Full stop, it has utility. If it is not able to satisfy my want, it doesn't have utility. Sir, can you give us an example? I'll give you two examples, okay? And then I'll explain in Hindi also. Pay attention, everyone. Number one. Let's say for example, I have the habit of, let's say, wearing white cloth. Let's say white. I like white shirt, white t-shirt, whatever. So this white shirt is able to satisfy my want. So it has utility for me. Now, on the other hand, you may not like white color. So for you, this white shirt may not have any utility. Exactly my point. That a commodity, if it is able to satisfy your want, it has utility. If it is unable to satisfy your want, it doesn't have utility. It is not necessary that it has to be useful also. I'll give you an example. Yoga. Now, let's say I am somebody who doesn't like to do yoga. So for me, yoga doesn't have any utility. But are you telling that is it useful? Yes, it is very useful. Yoga is very useful. But if I don't want to do it, or I don't have the time for doing it, then it has no utility for me. So remember, what has utility and what is useful are two different concepts. Again, let me give you one more example. Let's say a person is a chain smoker, or a person is an alcoholic. If such a person is drinking cigarette each and every day, if such a person is drinking cigarette each and every day, is it good for health? Absolutely no. So it's not useful at all. But is the want of that person being satisfied? Yes. So that cigarette for that person is possessing utility. So if you are wanting to answer the question whether if a product is having utility for somebody or not, just give a simple line. Answer is it able to satisfy the want or not? Is it able to satisfy the want or not? If it has the potential of satisfying want, it may be harmful also, but still it will have utility. Full stop. Full stop. Yes. Correct. That's the point. So the difference between utility and usefulness must be clear by now, because usefulness talks about what is good for your health, but utility talks about whether your want is satisfied or not. Just like I gave the example of that cigarette. That cigarette is not good for health at all. But is it satisfying the want of that person who is drinking it? If yes, full stop, it has utility. Utility is not having any kind of, ethical, legal or moral connotations, whether something is ethical or not, legal or not, moral or immoral. Utility doesn't care. Utility just asks a simple question. Is the want being satisfied? Answer is yes, full stop. The product has utility. Got it? So now I'll, explain the same in Hindi. यूटिलिटी का मतलब होता है दोस्तों, अगर एक कमोडिटी को कंज्यूम करने पर आपका कोई वांट सेटिस्फाई हो रहा है, इस बात से कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता कि वो कमोडिटी आपके सेहत के लिए अच्छा है या बुरा है। अर्थ केवल ये है कि क्या उससे आपका वांट सेटिस्फाई हो रहा है। अगर उससे आपका वांट सेटिस्फाई हो रहा है, बस बात खत्म, फुल स्टॉप लगा दीजिए। सर बात समझ में आ गई सर? Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Got it, sir. So what is utility? Want satisfying power of a commodity. What is utility? Want satisfying power of a commodity. All right, guys. Now, my dear friends, I'll tell you something. Utility is subjective, Subjective means varies from person to person. Each person has different utility for a product. Varies from person to person. Like for example, I give you an example, like let's say you don't do yoga, so for that yoga has no utility. But if I do yoga, for me yoga has utility. Yes. Then number two, what did I say? Utility is not related to what is legal, moral. It has nothing to do with it. It has only to do with whether the wants are being satisfied or not. Third point, friends, is utility and usefulness are not at all equal. They are two different things. Completely. Okay. So now, friends, I'll tell you more concepts related to utility. But first of all, try to got it, sir. Got it. Okay, sir. See, here I'll tell you about two things. First, I'll introduce to you the topic of equilibrium. Sir, what does this mean? And then I'll tell you other things. Consumer equilibrium is a point which results in best satisfaction of consumer, or maximum satisfaction for consumer. So what is equilibrium? Point of maximum satisfaction for the consumer. If you are talking about consumer equilibrium, point of max satisfaction for the consumer. I have to tell you a lot of things like law of DMU and all. I'll come to that, don't worry. So what is equilibrium? Please pay attention here. Arriving point of maximum satisfaction for consumer. It is the point from where consumer will not want to move. consumer will not want to move from this point. Consumer is very happy at this point. So point of maximum satisfaction for consumer not willing to move from this point. Consumer not willing to shift from this point. So the point at which consumer is achieving maximum satisfaction, the point at which consumer is achieving maximum satisfaction is called consumer equilibrium. And here starts the ultimate pure economics. Pay attention, everyone. Now friends, here there are two kinds of approaches to arrive at equilibrium. To arrive at equilibrium. Number one is called the marginal utility analysis, also called the cardinal approach, also called the cardinal approach, also called the cardinal approach. And the second is ordinal approach analysis, ordinal utility analysis. Sir, what are these 2 points, sir? Will you explain? Absolutely. In a lot of details. Pay attention, everyone. Pay attention, everyone. Pay attention, everyone. Yes, utility is completely a psychological concept, because it depends on person's mental estimate of how much happy is with using that thing. Okay. Go ahead. MU analysis. Okay, pay attention, everyone. So there are two methods of arriving at equilibrium. Number one, marginal utility analysis, which is called the cardinal approach. Number two, the ordinal utility analysis. Right? I'll explain you both the cases. Both the cases I'll explain you. First, I'll name the economists responsible behind the same. Ordinal utility analysis is also called Hicks and Allen approach, because Hicks and Allen were basically the economists responsible behind the same. So Hicks and Allen approach. Okay, but this is the second thing. Not the first one. The first one, what we are focusing right away with, marginal utility analysis, cardinal approach. Credit is given to Alfred Marshall for the same. So let's summarize in English and Hindi what we have done here. Arriving at equilibrium. What is equilibrium? The point of maximum satisfaction for the consumer. So how many ways do we calculate equilibrium or arrive at equilibrium? 2 ways. Cardinal approach as given by Alfred Marshall, ordinal approach as given by Hicks and Allen. सर एक बार आप हिंदी में भी समराइज कर दीजिए. हिंदी में मैं एक बार समराइज कर देता हूं. इक्विलिब्रियम का अर्थ होता है एक ऐसा पॉइंट जहां पे कंज्यूमर मैक्सिमम सेटिस्फैक्शन अचीव कर ले, कीपिंग इन माइंड उसका इनकम क्या है. कंज्यूमर मैक्सिमम सेटिस्फैक्शन अचीव कर ले, कंज्यूमर इस पॉइंट से हिलना नहीं चाहेगा. अब इक्विलिब्रियम पे आने का इकोनॉमिक्स में 2 तरीका है, कार्डिनल अप्रोच, ऑर्डिनल अप्रोच. कार्डिनल अप्रोच को मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी एनालिसिस भी बोलते हैं, ऑर्डिनल अप्रोच को हिक्स एंड एलन एनालिसिस भी बोलते हैं. कार्डिनल अप्रोच को देने वाले कौन थे? एल्फ्रेड मार्शल. ऑर्डिनल अप्रोच को देने वाले कौन थे? हिक्स एंड एलन. ठीक है, ये था बात. अब हमारा जो डिस्कशन है दोस्तों, वो पूरी तरह से मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी एनालिसिस की तरफ जा रहा है. जहां पे मैं आपको 2 मेन कॉन्सेप्ट सिखाने वाला हूं. टोटल यूटिलिटी क्या होता है, मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी क्या होता है. I'll teach you 2 concepts here. Number 1, total utility and marginal utility under the head marginal utility analysis. A lot to learn, guys. But first, I'll need the confirmation of you, friends. Is everything crystal clear till here? Come on, everybody. Yes or no? Come on, everyone. Okay. So pay attention, everyone. We are doing the marginal utility analysis. Okay, pay attention, everyone. See, first of all, pay attention, everyone. I'll tell you something. You see, Alfred Marshall was the key brain behind this approach. Alfred Marshall said that utility can be quantified. It means, what does quantified mean, sir? It means utility can be expressed in numbers. Now all of you will be surprised, because sir, you told us that utility is the want satisfying power of a commodity. So if utility is the want satisfying power of a commodity, it is a subjective thing. How can you quantify it? How can you assign it any numerical value, right? Let's say, for example, now the price of this, let's say I have earphones in hand. So if you ask me the price of this earphones, I can say, let's say 900 rupees. So when I say 900 rupees, then there is numerical value assigned because this is price. But whether this phone is earphone is satisfying my want or not, I can just answer yes or no. If yes, it has utility. If no, it doesn't have utility. But Alfred Marshall is telling no. Alfred Marshall is telling to the world that no, utility can also be assigned a numerical value. How much utility a product has for you, it can be assigned numerically, it can be told numerically. But then, sir, we have a question. How is this possible? Your question will be, how is it possible? ये कैसे हो सकता है कि यूटिलिटी को अपने नंबर्स के टर्म्स में लिख सके? How is it possible to quantify utility? This is what other economists questioned Alfred Marshall. And Alfred Marshall gave a brilliant answer. Alfred Marshall, in reality, gave a brilliant answer. What did he say, sir? What did he say, sir? As per Alfred Marshall, pay attention everyone. As per Alfred Marshall, yes, utility can be quantified. I'll give you an example how. Let's say this is a boy. Let's give him a name. Let's call him Golu. Is there any problem if I call him Golu? No problem, sir. Let's call this boy Golu. So now, when this boy Golu is, he is playing cricket, since 3 hours in the ground, and now he's feeling very thirsty. Playing cricket, he is very thirsty. Now, there is a shop nearby. Where there is a water bottle available at rupees 10. There is a water bottle available at rupees 10. Now, Golu is so thirsty that even if this shopkeeper would have asked Golu to give him 30 rupees for the same, Golu was even ready to pay 30 rupees. See, the actual price is 10 rupees. I am not saying that Golu is paying 30 rupees. I am saying that Golu is so thirsty that even if somebody would have asked him for 30 rupees for the same bottle, he would have been willing to provide the same. He would be willing to provide the same. Exactly my point. And as per Alfred Marshall, that is the value of utility. So what is the value of utility here? The numerical value of utility is rupees 30, which can also be written as 30 utiles. It is just to express utility, we use the word utiles. It basically means that Golu is ready to pay 30 rupees to, buy this product. Yes. तो यूटिलिटी का मतलब, अगर आपको यूटिलिटी को न्यूमेरिकल वैल्यू असाइन करना है, आप केवल क्या देखो, आप ये देखो कि आप एक प्रोडक्ट को पाने के लिए कितने पैसे देने को तैयार हो. दोस्तों प्लीज रिमेंबर, आप एक्चुअल में हो सकता है 10 रुपए दे रहे हो, बट क्योंकि आपको इतना प्यास लग रहा था, आप उस समय 30 रुपीज भी देने को तैयार थे. जितना आप देने को तैयार थे, वो है असल में यूटिलिटी की वैल्यू. इस बात से कोई अंतर नहीं पड़ता कि आप एक्चुअल में कितना दे रहे हो, आप तैयार कितना देने को थे. एग्जैक्टली माई पॉइंट हियर. दिस इज व्हाट एल्फ्रेड मार्शल टोल्ड, व्हाट यू आर विलिंग टू पे. और इस 30 रुपीज को आप 30 यूटाइल्स भी लिख सकते हैं. अब माई डियर फ्रेंड्स, आई विल गिव यू एन एग्जांपल. आई विल टेल यू समथिंग एल्स. एक और टॉपिक है which I'll tell you, which is called consumer surplus. We will discuss other concepts also, but here it is a very simple word, so I'll explain you what is consumer surplus. Guys, you all tell me, how much was Golu ready to pay? Golu was ready to pay 30 rupees. But what is he actually paying? He is actually paying 10 rupees for the bottle. So, what is the benefit of Golu? Numerical benefit. I need each one of you to answer this in the chat. Everybody come on, answer this in the chat. Come on, everyone. Come on, everyone. Yes, you all are absolutely correct. That he was ready to pay 30 rupees, but he is actually paying only 10 rupees. So he is able to save 20 rupees. This, friends, is called consumer surplus. This, friends, is called consumer surplus. That extra benefit that you are making out of it. Very good, Mickey, very good. Kalyani, Prachi, good answer, very good. Nittal, very good. Sahajpreet, Navya, very good friend. Jasraj, good answer. Okay, so perfect answer by you all. This is called consumer surplus. Very easy, isn't it? Okay. Now let's, friends, understood two or three concepts more. That is the concept of total utility and marginal utility. See, friends, what is total utility and what is marginal utility? Please pay attention, everyone. It is a very easy topic. Total utility and marginal utility. Pay attention, friends. Total utility and marginal utility. So friends, see, let's say for example, if for one water bottle I am ready to pay 30 rupees and for two I am ready to pay 50 rupees, this is total utility. For two water bottles, this is total utility. For one water bottle, this is total utility. For two water bottles, because in totality for two bottles I am ready to pay 50 rupees. Understood? But what is marginal utility? Marginal utility is what additional, if I want to consume one additional product. Marginal utility is if we want to increase the consumption by just 1 unit, what is the change in total utility? Meaning that if for one it is 30 and if for two it is 50, then as soon as I buy one extra water bottle, as soon as I buy one extra water bottle, guys, please tell me what is the extra amount I am ready to pay for that water bottle. In total, I am paying 50 for two. But just because of the second one, how much additional I am paying? Oh, sir, it is 20. How? Because sir, 30 you were already paying for one. So because of the second, you are paying 20 more. Absolutely correct. 50 minus 30, 20. So marginal utility of any item is total utility of n items minus total utility of n minus 1 items. What does it mean, sir? Like here, if you have to calculate the marginal utility of third item means when you purchase the third item, what extra you were ready to pay. आप एक्स्ट्रा क्या देने को तैयार थे थर्ड आइटम के लिए? अगर आपको वो निकालना है तो आप ये कंप्यूट कर लो. यू कंप्यूट कि व्हाट यू पेड फॉर ऑल द थ्री minus how much you were ready to pay for two. So automatically if you deduct, you will get na what you were ready to pay for the third one, what you were ready to pay for the third one, what you were ready to pay for the third one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let's give you two or three MCQs and see what you are able to answer. Okay. So let's see. So the question is, I'm giving you a data: quantity 1, 2, and 3, total utility 50, 80, 90, marginal utility dash dash dash. So three MCQ questions. Number one, marginal utility of quantity 1. Question 2, what is the marginal utility of quantity 2? Number 3, what is the marginal utility of quantity 3? For each unit, what is the marginal utility? I need to know. I need you to tell me. I'll not give you any options also. No options. I'll give you no options. Come on, everyone. Come on, everyone. No options. Three questions back to back. This is of 3 marks. So you all will tell me how much you got out of 3 marks here in this question. Come on, everyone. Let's hear it. So Dharvi has answered her question. And Dharvi, absolutely correct. You get full. Suhani, you get 2 out of 3. Okay. So see, I'll help you out, friends. You see, for the first item, total utility and marginal utility will always be the same. So it will be 50 rupees here. So the answer is 50. You know why? because when you were consuming nothing, your total utility was nothing. But when you are consuming 1 unit, your total utility is 50. So because you increased consumption by 1 unit, your utility increased by 50 na. So therefore marginal utility for quantity 1 is 50. For the second item you all are correct. Second minus first, that is 30. Absolutely bang on correct. And for the third item, it is 90 minus 80, 10. 90 minus 80 basically meaning 10. Basically meaning 10. Very good. So guys, I need to know your scores. How many of you scored 3 out of 3? Because the answers are 50, 30 and 10. Very good, Jeet. Very good, Arnav. Full marks to you, friends. Okay. So pay attention, friends. Very good, very good. A lot of full scores. A lot of full scores, right? Okay, amazing. So great. Now, friends, I will talk to you about a very important concept again given by Alfred Marshall, because we are in the world of marginal utility analysis. See, now we are not talking about ordinal approach at all. Now we are not talking about ordinal approach at all. At all. Okay? Pay attention, everyone. Very good, very good, very good. So I'll repeat again. For the first product, total utility and marginal utility are same. For the second one, 80 minus 50, that is 30. For the third one, 90 minus 80, which is 10. So when I calculated for the second one, I did TU of 2 minus TU of 1. For the first one, TU and MU are equal. And for the third one, MU of 3 equals to TU of 3 minus TU of 2. Oh, is that so, sir? Yes, that is so, friends. Yes, that is so, friends. Okay, okay, okay. Moving on, moving on, moving on. So now, friends, we are discussing a very important topic called law of diminishing marginal utility. Called law of diminishing marginal utility. It is under the utility analysis only, friends. It is under the utility analysis only, friends. So don't need to worry. It is very much under the topic diminishing marginal utility. Guys, I'll ask you one question. I'll ask you one question. Please answer, everybody. Okay? Please answer, everybody. What is the law of DMU? I'll give you an example. Okay? Guys, you played cricket, football, some game outside. You came home. You know, your mother had kept mangoes ready for you, or one of your parents had kept ready mangoes for you. Okay? Now, guys, you all tell me, you started eating mangoes. You eat the first mango, you eat the second one, you eat the third one, you eat the fourth one. You all tell me, guys, one thing about the same. You all tell me, guys, one thing about the same. What is happening gradually? What is happening gradually? What is happening gradually? What I'm meaning to ask is, that as and when you are consuming more and more mangoes, your desire to consume mangoes is, you all will tell me, increasing or diminishing. You all will tell me, increasing or diminishing. Come on, everybody, I need to know the answer. Yes, graph based questions can come in exam. We will also practice it in the class. Pay attention, everyone. We will practice a lot of graphs. बहुत सारा graphs practice करेंगे. Just pay attention, everyone. So you all tell me, what will happen to the desire to consume more? Absolutely, absolutely. Sir, the desire to consume more will constantly diminish. This is what diminishing marginal utility says. This is exactly what diminishing marginal utility says. What does it say? I'll read it out for you all. Amount of satisfaction provided by the consumption of every additional decreases as we increase the consumption of that. अब समझिए. We'll try and understand. I'll give you in two languages, English and Hindi. Number one, English. See, as I am increasing the consumption of mangoes, my desire to consume or purchase any additional mango is falling, because I already have a lot of mangoes at my disposal. Point number one in English. Done. Now let's talk about Hindi. So what I'm telling you here is, जब अपने लोग मैंगो कंज्यूम कर रहे हैं, जब अपने लोग मैंगो का कंजम्पशन इंक्रीज करते जा रहे हैं, तो ग्रेजुअली क्या हो रहा है, तो ग्रेजुअली क्या हो रहा है, आप ये देख रहे हो कि धीरे धीरे ये हो रहा है कि अपना जो डिजायर है, अपनी जो इच्छा है और मैंगो कंज्यूम करने की, वो कम होते जा रही है, वो कम होते जा रही है। ये है डिमिनिशिंग मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी, ये है डिमिनिशिंग मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी, ये है डिमिनिशिंग मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी। क्लियर है सर? एग्जांपल दीजिए, आई विल गिव यू एन एग्जांपल हियर। सी, पे अटेंशन, this is a graph, this is a schedule, very very important. I'll explain everything, pay attention everybody. See, apple 1, for apple 1 you were ready to pay 20 rupees, for 2 apples you were ready to pay 35 rupees, for 3 apples you were ready to pay 45 rupees, for 4 apples in total you were ready to pay 50 rupees, for 5 apples again 50, for 6 45, and 7 35. What is happening? You see, for the first one, TU and MU are same, as I already told. For the first product, TU equals to MU. Write it down with you, everyone. For the first product, TU is equals to MU. Okay, very good, very good. Okay, correct. But now you see what happens. When you purchase two products, your total utility is now 35. So the marginal utility, that is the increase in consumption, is by only 15. So here it is 15. When you consume total 3 apples, it becomes totally 45. So how much have you increased the consumption? With 10. When you consume total 4 apples, the total utility is 50. So by how much you increase the utility? By 5. When you consume 5 apples, now you see, yes, I am willing to pay more, but only at a lesser price. So what is happening gradually? My marginal utility is falling. Now here comes a point where I am already full. So I am telling that person giving me my apple, ki see, I will take apple, but I will not pay you a single amount extra. 0. So mu is 0, because for the additional fifth apple, I was not willing to pay a single penny. Or to the contrary, if somebody gives me the sixth apple, I'll tell them that now if you want me to consume the sixth apple, now you will have to give me money instead of me having to give you money. It is such a scenario. I mean, I have started hating apple so much that if somebody wants me to consume it more, I am charging money to consume it. Negative marginal utility. I know it's sounding a bit illogical, but just to explain what is going on, okay? And then at the 7th level, what is happening? I am wanting more money if somebody wants me to consume more apple. So initially, our love for apple was at the highest because we were consuming the first one. But as you are told, as we keep consuming more and more, our utility, our satisfaction, our desire for this particular product apple keeps on falling and falling, as you can see here. And therefore it is law of diminishing marginal utility, law of diminishing marginal utility, law of diminishing marginal utility. And now guys, the diagram for it, it's a very simple diagram indeed. You see, both of them are moving at meeting at the same point. Why? Because at the first level, TU and MU are always equal. At the first level, TU and MU are always equal. At the first level, TU and MU are always equal. So when at the first level, friends, TU and MU are equal, now what is happening? See, total utility is first rising because your satisfaction, overall readiness to pay for total apples is rising, but gradually it's falling. But marginal utility point, you see, it's constantly falling. And guess what, guys? One important relationship I want you all to know. Please remember, as you can clearly see, when TU rises, as you can see in this part, MU is falling, as you can see in this part, MU falls. One interesting thing you see, when TU is max at this level, you see what is MU? 0. And therefore when TU is at this point, MU is touching this axis. Because when TU is maximum, MU is 0. When TU is maximum, MU is 0. And see, when TU has started going down, MU has become negative. It has gone below the axis. You see, it has gone below the axis. When TU falls, MU becomes negative. When TU falls, MU becomes negative. When TU falls, MU becomes negative. Sir, the question is, can TU be 0? No. TU will never be 0. Yes, it might be 0, but no, not possible, because TU equals to 0 means people are telling you that if you buy 20 units, they will give you everything for free. No. So TU cannot be 0. Yes, TU can fall, but it can never be 0 nor be negative. MU can be 0 as well as negative. Please remember, TU can't be 0. TU can't be 0. And yes, most of you are asking where is the equilibrium point. Guys, now I am not explaining where the equilibrium point is. I am explaining you law of diminishing marginal utility. So please stay within the boundaries. Otherwise, you will not understand things, okay? We are not discussing what the equilibrium point is. We are not concerned about the same. So what is law of diminishing marginal utility? As per law of DMU given by Alfred Marshall, as we consume more and more units of a commodity, our marginal utility keeps on falling. That is, desire to consume each additional unit falls. Number one. Number two, when TU rises, MU falls. When TU max, MU 0. When TU falls, MU negative. Guys, now I am asking you again 2 marks question. 2 marks test again. 3 we have already done, then 2 we have done it before, so 5. Now again 2 questions I am giving. Please tell me what is your score out of 2. I'll give you the questions right away, friends. Pay attention, everyone. My question to you all is, pay attention. Pay attention, everyone. What I'm asking you is, as per law of diminishing marginal utility, marginal utility will gradually rise, fall, remain constant, D, none of the above. This is the first question. Let's see what your marks are. 2 questions. Again, I'm asking you, it's a test, 2 marks. Okay, pay attention, everyone. Next question is, which of the following becomes negative gradually? A, TP, B, MP, or rather TU, total utility, MU, marginal utility, C, average utility, D, all. Come on, everyone. Come on, everyone. Let's see how many of you scored full. I'll answer the questions obviously, but let's see. Rahul, good answer, friend. Sahajpreet, good answer. Riddhi, good answer. So let's see. I'll answer you. See, as per Laudium, MU will gradually fall. And the second question is, which becomes negative gradually? So it is the MU which becomes gradually negative. Okay, it is the MU which becomes the gradually negative. Okay. Yes, absolutely correct answer. So very good. A lot of 2 out of 2. A lot of 2 out of 2. It's amazing to see that. Amazing to see that. Okay. So now let's move on to some assumptions. While we are studying law of diminishing marginal utility, friends, there are some assumptions that we need to keep in mind. And only under those assumptions will law of DMU operate. Only under those assumptions will law of DMU operate. Okay? Yes, Nancy. Very good, Harnoor. Correct answer. Very good, Astha. So now pay attention, everyone. Assumptions of the law of diminishing marginal utility. Assumptions of the law of diminishing marginal utility. Pay attention. The first assumption of law of DMU is, pay attention, everyone. The first assumption of law of DMU is rationality. The first assumption of law of DMU is rationality. What does it say? It means that the consumer is rational. It is saying that the consumer is rational. Sir, what does it mean by consumer is rational? Basically, consumer is rational means consumer is logical. Economics is not considering fools. Economics is only considering people who are logical. Economics is only considering people who are logical. So what I'm telling you is, number one assumption of law of DMU is that the consumers are rational. Point number one. Okay, consumers are rational. Moving on to number two. Constant MU of money means money, importance of money for the consumer has not gone up suddenly or has not fallen down suddenly. Sir, why is this assumption needed? Because let's say if we want to study law of DMU, we need to keep in mind that if needed, consumer can purchase more of the product. You know, if let's say we assume that money has become more precious, then the consumer may not buy the second unit as only. If the consumer is not buying the second unit, how will you study the law of DMU? Because law of DMU is based on the premise that consumers keeps on purchasing, and as a result his satisfaction falls. So if he is not only purchasing additional units because money has become more important, then why the hell will it happen that we will be able to study it? So that's the logic, friends. अगर कंज्यूमर नेक्स्ट यूनिट परचेज ही नहीं करेगा क्योंकि उसको पैसा ज्यादा प्यारा है, तो अब लोग लॉ ऑफ डीएमयू पढ़ेंगे कैसे? लॉ ऑफ डीएमयू को पढ़ने के लिए ये चाहिए कि कंज्यूमर के लिए पैसा इक्वली इंपॉर्टेंट है. कभी भी पैसा अननेसेसरीली ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं हुआ, कभी भी कम इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं हुआ. दिस इज व्हाट दे आर सेइंग. दिस इज व्हाट दे आर सेइंग. Okay, got it, sir. So yes, first point is consumer is rational. Second point is constant marginal utility of money. Third point is there is diminishing marginal utility, obviously. Number four, utility is additive. You know, utility is independent. Then some assumptions I like to add. You know, some assumptions I like to add which are more important than this. Some assumptions, more assumptions. Sir, this is in the institute material. Yes, absolutely. Assumptions of law of DMU. What I have already explained, I'll just write them down and then I'll explain the others. Number one, I have already explained you that the consumer is rational. We are assuming that utility is cardinal. Cardinal means you can measure it numerically. You can assign it a numerical value based on what you are willing to pay for the same. So numerical value can be assigned. Then the third point that I'll want to add is there should be continuity in consumption. What? Continuity in consumption. Sir, what does continuity in consumption mean? Sir, what do you mean by continuity in consumption? Pay attention. What does continuity in consumption mean, sir? I'll help you out, guys. Continuity in consumption. See, let's say I ate a mango. After 2 hours, I come and I again eat a mango. Then I will say, no. The first time I ate mango and the second time I ate mango, both time mango was equally useful to me. My satisfaction did not decline. Or it can happen that let's say I have eaten a mango, I have gone to play for 2 to 3 hours. Now I am feeling very hungry. I return and I eat a mango. Now I am saying that I like the second mango even better. This is illogical, guys. Because there is a huge break in between. So in order to understand the law of DMU, what is necessary is please pay attention. What is necessary is कि अगर आप एक प्रोडक्ट को कंज्यूम कर रहे हैं, तो उसको कंटिन्यूअसली कंज्यूम कीजिए, तब लॉ ऑफ डीएमयू आप स्टडी कर पाइएगा. अगर ब्रेक का जरूरत है भी तो वेरी शॉर्ट ब्रेक्स, जैसे 5 सेकेंड, 1 मिनट, 2 मिनट, दैट इज ऑल राइट. शॉर्ट ब्रेक्स होना चाहिए. आप 1 घंटा 2 घंटे का ब्रेक नहीं ले सकते. सो सर, पे अटेंशन एवरीवन. assumptions of law of DMU के अंदर कुल मिलाकर 3 चीजें हैं. I'll explain it in Hindi, then again I'll repeat it in English. Okay? So पहली बात, कंज्यूमर रैशनल है. रैशनल है इसका मतलब है लॉजिकल है ना. दूसरा, यूटिलिटी कार्डिनल है, मतलब यूटिलिटी को हम लोग नंबर्स में एक्सप्रेस कर सकते हैं. कैसे? मैंने आज की क्लास में आपको बताया कि आप एक कमोडिटी को पाने के लिए कितने पैसे देने को तैयार हो. तो दूसरी बात. और तीसरी बात कि जब आप लॉ ऑफ डिमिनिशिंग मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी को स्टडी कर रहे हो ना, तो आपको ये ध्यान रखने का जरूरत है कि आप जब कंज्यूम कर रहे हो कमोडिटीज को, वो कंटिन्यूअस हो. अगर अभी मैं एक मैंगो कंज्यूम किया, 2 घंटे मैं खेलने चला गया और खेल कर आया, तब मेरे को तो और भूख लग रहा है, तब मैं तो ये बोलूंगा कि मेरे को सेकंड मैंगो ज्यादा अच्छा लगा. तो लॉ ऑफ डीएमयू तो फिर फॉलो ही नहीं हुआ. लॉ ऑफ डीएमयू बोलता है कि अगर आपको लॉ ऑफ डीएमयू टेस्ट करना है तो आपको कंटिन्यूअसली मैंगो या एप्पल खाना पड़ेगा, ना कि आप 2-2, 3-3 घंटे का ब्रेक लेकर आओ. इट कैन नॉट हैपन. तो ये अभी तक 3 assumption है. Now moving on to the fourth assumption, friends. The fourth assumption is The fourth assumption is constant utility of money. What does it mean, sir? I have already explained that money is equally important. It has not become very important now. It has not become less important while we are consuming this particular product. Okay. Unit should be of standard size. What does it mean? Unit should be standard or unit should be of standard size. Sir, what does it mean? Let's say for example, we are talking about drinking water, glass of water, huh? Here there are a lot of glasses of water, okay? Here there are a lot of glasses of water. Pay attention, everyone. Let's say they are of equal size. Let's assume. Now what happens is, अगर आपको law of DMU study करना है, suppose this person is very thirsty. Instead of giving this person a glass of water, you are giving this person a spoon of water. If you are giving this person a spoon of water, when he drinks the first spoon, his thirst is not satisfied. He will want the second spoon, third spoon, fourth spoon. So he will tell you that all the spoons were equally important for him. So you will tell me that, sir, the law of DMU is not followed, but here you are at fault. The unit should be standard enough. That is, it should at least be a glass of water. Otherwise, you cannot study law of DMU if you just keep giving that person one spoon of water. If you keep giving that person one spoon of water, what will it imply? It will imply that there is no law of DMU, because each spoon will have equal importance, obviously. Okay, sir. Understood, sir. So, yani ki the product should be of standard size. It should be of standard size. Unnecessarily huge or unnecessarily small should not be allowed. Suppose it is unnecessarily large. Let's say you have given this person a bucket of water. Now he will not be able to complete that only. So law of DMU cannot be studied again. So these are some of the very, very important points. Please remember, that utility is rational, that a person is logical. Person is logical, rational. Utility is cardinal, that is, it can be measured numerically. Okay, there should be continuity in consumption. Money has been constantly possessing the same value. Okay, unit should be of standard size. And one more very important assumption I like to add. What is it, sir? No change in tastes and preferences, or I would rather write other factors remaining constant. Like for example, when the person is consuming this commodity, and while we are studying law of diminishing marginal utility, it implies, when we are studying law of diminishing marginal utility, this point basically implies us that we are assuming that other factors, like what are the other factors, like price, tastes and preferences, income, etc., there is no change. All are constant, no change. Because if this changes, then the consumers might be willing to purchase more, or they might be purchasing less. Okay, so there it is. So we have studied this for this 5 to 6 points. Okay, sir, amazing. So the main six assumptions are: consumer is rational, utility is cardinal, there is continuity in consumption, constant utility of money, units are of standard size. मतलब एक person, अगर आप मान लो, if you are testing for a glass of water, if you are giving that person a glass of water, consistently you will give that person the same size glass of water. If you are giving them spoon of water, it is illogical, because to a thirsty person, if you give a spoon of water, each spoon that he gets will be equally important. So the law of DMU will not operate, because as per law of DMU, for each additional unit, MU falls. But because you are giving that person a spoon, the spoon is nothing, and therefore each spoon is equally important to him or her, and therefore the law of DMU has been violated. So please ensure utility mein goods should be of standard size, units should be of standard size, goods or units should be of standard size, or else there will be a issue. Okay, sir, we got it, sir. Okay, sir. So now let's solve one or two more MCQs. Let's solve one or two more MCQs. Okay. Here is question number 1, MCQ number 1. Here is MCQ number 1. Why is, or rather, what is the assumption of law of DMU? Number 1, standard units. Other factors remaining constant. C, continuity in consumption. D, all the above. Come on everybody, answer please. This is maybe the 8th or the 7th question for the day. Come on everyone. Okay, very good. Ankhil, very good. Jasraj, very good. Abdul, very good. Suhani, good answer. Bhavya, good answer. Lavanya, good answer. Sakshi, good one. Yash, good answer, friend. Okay, great, 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 great. So, yes, you all are absolutely correct. All of the above. All of the above. All of the above is the correct answer. All of the above is the absolutely correct answer. So, very good, guys. Moving on, moving on, moving on. Now, sir, what are we moving to? We are discussing, friends, the limitations or the exceptions to the law of diminishing marginal utility. The limitations or exceptions to the law of diminishing marginal utility. The limitations or exceptions of the law of diminishing marginal utility. Let's see. Limitations and exceptions. We will discuss both, friends. Okay. First, I'll discuss limitations and then we will discuss expectations. Exceptions, not expectations. I'm sorry. Okay. So, yes, limitations. Limitations are demerits. Limitations are demerits. And I'll want you to remember one basic limitation, and that is only required. Yes, that it is based on a lot of unrealistic assumptions. It is based on a lot of unrealistic assumptions. Sir, like what unrealistic assumptions? You are expecting that consumer will always be rational. They might not be. You are assuming that consumers' income, tastes, and preferences will not change. It might change. It might change. Who is stopping it from changing? So it is based on a lot of unrealistic assumptions being true at the same time. A lot of unrealistic assumptions being true at the same time, which is not indeed logical, you see. Correct, sir? Yes, sir, correct. So here it is. The limitations are here. Moving on. What are the exceptions? What are the exceptions? What are the exceptions? Come on, everyone. Let's discuss some exceptions. Exception number 1 is, what does exception means? Means the cases where the law is not applied, where the law is not followed at all. Exceptions means the cases where the law is not followed at all. Exceptions means the cases where the law is not followed at all. Okay, okay. All right, go ahead, sir. So exception number 1. Exception number 1. It doesn't apply to items like gold. It doesn't apply to items like diamond, etc. In fact, the more you have gold and diamond, the more your utility for the same increases. Instead of declining utility, the utility will rise. So the law of DMU might not be applicable in all the circumstances, you see. It might not be applied in all the cases. These luxury items, the more you have it, you all will want to have more. We have studied it under exceptions to the law of demand as well. Okay. Number 2, hobbies. Suppose friends, You know, people have different hobbies. Like if somebody has a hobby of collecting art, great artwork across the world, so as and when they get more and more artwork, their desire to get the additional artwork will further increase rather than declining, because we studied under law of DMU, which is applicable to normal commodities, that as you consume something more and more, the additional utility keeps on falling. Here it is just the opposite. It will rather start rising. It will rather start rising, friends. Okay, sir. Point number three, it doesn't apply to habits as well, just like hobbies, habits as well. Like if somebody is in the, is in the habit of smoking, as I gave you an example, if somebody is in the habit of smoking, they will only increase it. Just because they have had 10 cigarettes, they might not stop there. They might want to consume more. That's what is written here under the exceptions. So there will not be diminishing marginal utility. Rather, the utility might rise. When you have had 6, you might want to have 7. So it's just the opposite. It's just the opposite. Limitations is basically, so basically, friends, we have studied two things here: limitations and exceptions. I'll explain it in English again and thereby followed by Hindi. Okay, so pay attention. Yes, one of our friends, Kayast, one of our friends, Kayast, has asked a very good question. Sir, then I think it should not apply to money also. Very good. It doesn't apply to money as well. I thought it is, you got it here only, but I'll write it down. Because the more money you have, the more you want. The more money you have, the more you want. So yes, the law of DMU doesn't apply to money. Not at all. Yes, Lucky. Correct. So now let's pay attention, everyone. I'll explain in two languages again. Number one, English, limitations and exceptions, then Hindi. So pay attention, everyone. Limitations. लिमिटेशंस में अपने सबसे पहले पढ़ें कि जो लॉ ऑफ डिमिनिशिंग मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी है, लिमिटेशन मतलब ड्रॉबैक, उसके खराब पॉइंट्स। इसका सबसे बड़ा ड्रॉबैक ये है कि ये लॉ ऑफ डिमिनिशिंग मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी बहुत सारे अजम्पशंस पर बेस्ड है कि प्रोडक्ट्स होमोजीनियस होने चाहिए, एग्जैक्टली सेम साइज के होने चाहिए, जो कि होना प्रैक्टिकल नहीं है, जो कि होना प्रैक्टिकल नहीं है कि सारे अजम्पशंस ट्रू हो। कंज्यूमर का इनकम चेंज नहीं होना चाहिए, कंज्यूमर का इनकम चेंज हो सकता है, तो आप ये कैसे बोल सकते हो इट कैन नॉट चेंज। और एक्सेप्शंस मतलब जहां पर लॉ ऑफ डीएमयू फॉलो होगा ही नहीं। लॉ ऑफ डीएमयू बोलता है कि जैसे जैसे आपके पास एक कमोडिटी बढ़ता है, आपकी इच्छा उसको और पाने की गिरते जाती है। बट आपको बता दें, कुछ केसेस में ये नहीं होता है। जिस चीजों का आपका हैबिट होता है, जो चीजों का आपका हॉबी होता है, जो चीजें गोल्ड, डायमंड, ज्वेलरी, लग्जरी आइटम्स है, पैसा, इन सब के केस में होता है कि आपके पास जितना है और ज्यादा, वो कम है, जितना है वो कम है, और चाहिए और चाहिए और चाहिए। गॉट इट सर? So now I'll come back to the English language and I'll summarize it for you all. Limitations are basically the bad points, and the bad point about this is it is based on a lot of unrealistic assumptions. There is one more assumption I will explain, but this is the main assumption. It is based on a lot of unrealistic assumption that the consumer should be rational, at the same time there should be no change in income, and so on and so forth, which is a bit illogical. And then exceptions. To what does it doesn't apply? It doesn't apply to gold, diamond, jewelry, things of habit, things of custom, things of hobby, money. It doesn't apply to all those. Okay? Go ahead, sir. One more limitation, friends, I'd like to add on. So I'll put a star mark here so that I can explain it further. I can explain it further here. Pay attention, everyone. Another limitation, and there are only two limitations. So study this two only. Limitation number 2. Sir, what is the limitation number 2? Can you tell us? Yes, friends, I can. My dear friends, the limitation number 2 is, pay attention. It is dependent. It is dependent. Sir, what do you mean? I'll tell you what. Let's say we are studying utility derived from drinking tea. Utility derived from drinking tea. But for that we will want continuous supply of tea. But continuous supply of tea depends also on the availability of sugar, which may not be available. So utility is a dependent concept. So it may so happen that you are wanting to study the law of DMU, how it applies in case of tea, but eventually at third or fourth level, the sugar is not enough available to make that tea. So your law is violated now. And that's why, there are two main assumptions: the unrealistic assumptions and the fact that it is dependent. Consumption of one good may depend on consumption of some other good as well, or on the availability of some other good as well. एक चीज का कंजम्पशन किसी और चीज के होने पर भी निर्भर कर सकता है. तो इसलिए यूटिलिटी को पढ़ना, लॉ ऑफ डीएमयू को पढ़ना थोड़ा सा मुश्किल है. On exceptions, gold, diamond, jewelry, etc. Okay. So now let's give you another MCQ question, and let's see who is able to give full answer correct. Let's see. So see. Okay, sir. So moving on. One of our friend is saying, sir, under exceptions you have written money, but in assumption you told that money is maintaining constant marginal utility. No. There is a confusion. When I said there assumption constant marginal utility of money, it means in comparison to the product. So let's say if you are purchasing mango, money has not become more important than mango or less important than mango, because you are spending money to get that mango. That was assumption. But here I am talking about money as a commodity. If you think money as a commodity, the more I have, the better for me. And so I am telling law of DMU doesn't apply. So don't confuse between the two. Okay? Okay, sir. So moving on. Guys, here is a question. Pay attention, everyone. Here is a question. Pay attention, everyone. Okay, sir. Please tell us. Please tell us, sir. So the question is, does law of DMU, or rather I will change the question, to which of the following commodities does law of DMU not apply? Does law of DMU not apply? A, mango. B, rice. C, apple. D, jewelry. Let's see who of you are able to answer the question correctly. Come on, everyone. Let's hear it from you. Come on, friends. The answers, please. Very good, Gun. Very good, Himanshu. Okay, Kirti, great answer. Meenakshi, great answer. Divyanshu, correct answer. So yes, the correct answer, friends, in this circumstance would be jewelry. Okay, wow, amazing to see. All answers are correct. Not a single wrong answer I have received till now. Amazing to see this, guys. Really happy about it. Very good, Rahul, Yash, Prachi, good answer. Lakshmi, good answer. Very good. Srinidhi, good answer. Muhammad Barkatullah, good answer. Very good. So now moving on. Now we will study equilibrium condition. Because guys, you see, till now we have not studied what equilibrium condition is. We have studied a hell lot of things, but we have not studied what the equilibrium condition is. So let's study it right now. Let's study it right now. Condition for correct equilibrium. Okay. So see, condition for correct equilibrium, for arriving at equilibrium, basically. Condition for equilibrium. Now guys, please pay attention. We are under which world? I told you there are two kinds of utility analysis: indifference curve and marginal utility. Still we are in this cardinal or marginal utility analysis world. Okay, ordinal we have not studied, even we have not even touched today. So pay attention, everyone. Marginal utility analysis or rather I would say cardinal approach, or rather I would say cardinal approach. Marginal utility analysis, or rather cardinal approach. So pay attention, everyone. Guys, here we make two kinds of diagrams, or not diagrams, I would rather say we may have two different side situations. Number one, where we are assuming that there is only one commodity in this world, which we call as one commodity world, which we call as one commodity world, which we call as one commodity world. No, Srivasri. Moving on. Does law of DMU apply to, now we are talking about if law of DMU is applicable to one commodity world, then what is the equilibrium condition? And if it is two commodity world, then what is the equilibrium condition? Because guys, remember, we are discussing for an MCQ pattern. So when we are discussing for an MCQ based examination, we need to be very smart enough to know the conditions very well. Please remember. One commodity, yes, you are correct that in reality there might be infinite commodities in this world, but when we do utility analysis under the cardinal approach, there can be two things that can be done. We can assume that there is only one commodity in this world, or we can assume that there are two commodities in this world, and based on that we will frame our answers. Okay, so let's see. Number one, in case of one commodity world, consumer is in equilibrium when price of the product is marginal utility of the product. When price becomes equal to marginal utility, this is the equilibrium condition. This is the equilibrium condition. When price is equals to marginal utility, friends. When price is equals to marginal utility, friends. At that point, consumer is in equilibrium. And in case of two commodity world, the equilibrium condition is, in case of equilibrium condition here, it is MUX by PX equals to MUY by PY. MUX by PX equals to MUY by PY. Please remember, like every other topic, it is very, very, very important. Very important. Very important. I'll tell you, it's very important. So guys, pay attention, everyone. So the question is, what if, what kind of discussion we are doing, whether it's a one commodity world or whether it is a two commodity world. In case of one commodity world, the equilibrium condition is price equals to marginal utility. In case of two commodity world, the equilibrium condition is MUX by PX equals to MUY by P. Okay, so first guys, learn this, very important. Now I'll explain it one by one. Okay, so please pay attention, everyone. Okay, please pay attention, everyone. The equilibrium thing I'm explaining you. Okay, the equilibrium thing I'm explaining you. Pay attention, everyone. I'm drawing the diagram. Okay, so see, have a look, guys. One commodity world diagram is there in our book, so we are going to respect that. Pay attention, everyone. Let me draw for you a chart. Here guys, we are assuming price to be constant. Price, I told you now, other factors remaining constant. Price is also one of those factors that is supposed to be constant. Okay, so we are assuming price is constant. Pay attention. And we are talking about shirt. Maybe we are going to buy a shirt and price of shirt is constant. Let's say 600 rupees. Let's say 600 rupees. Let's assume price of shirt to be constant, which can be 600 rupees. Okay, please pay attention. We are discussing the equilibrium example. So let's assume price of shirt is 600 rupees. Okay, now there are different quantity levels of shirt. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now price, as you all know, is constant. So in each level I am writing what? 600, 600, 600, 600, 600, 600, 600, 600. And now how much that shirt is important to me, I'll explain it in terms of marginal utility. Now because of law of diminishing marginal utility, its importance will gradually diminish. So let's say it was initially 800, 700, then 600, then 500. Because of law of diminishing MU, the more shirt I have, the lesser I am ready to pay for the further shirts. Okay, so for the first shirt I am ready to pay 800, for the second I am ready to pay 700, for the third one I am ready to pay 600, for the fourth one I am ready to pay 500, for the fifth one I am ready to pay 400, and for the sixth one I am willing to pay 300. Now guys, you all tell me, at which quantity level do you see that the equilibrium condition is met. What is the equilibrium condition here? Mux equals to Px. Come on everybody. What is the equilibrium condition here? Mux equals to Px. Where do you see that happening? Where do you see that happening? Come on everyone. Where do you see that happening? And as I told at the very beginning of the class, equilibrium is the point of maximum satisfaction for the consumer. At the very beginning of the class I taught, right? What is equilibrium? The point of maximum satisfaction for the consumer, where the customer will be the happiest. Where the customer will be the happiest. So let's hear it from you all, what answer you are giving, okay? So from what I can see, at level 3, at quantity 3, sir, it is becoming equal. Very good Nittal, very good Srinath, very good Loveleen, very good Avinandan, very good. So pay attention here. It is at the third level. Why? Because you see at the third level, price and MU are becoming equal. What is the condition? MU should be equal to price. So when you are buying three shirts, number of shirts 3, when you are buying number of shirts equals to 3, at this level, marginal utility and price of the shirt are becoming equal, where marginal utility is becoming equal to the price, and that's the equilibrium point. Correct? Yes, correct. Now, sir, would you also show us the diagram of the same? Absolutely, I'll show you the diagram of the same. But this is it. So 3 is the equilibrium point. 3 shirts is the equilibrium point. That is where the customer is best satisfied. Sir, why is it so? For those that are worrying about this, see, at the first level, the value of shirt is 800, but the price is 600. So what is more precious to me? The shirt. So I take the shirt. At the second level, the value I derive from purchasing the shirt is 700, but my price I am having to pay is 600. Again, I go with the shirt. In the third level also, the price I'm having to pay is 600, but then the satisfaction is also 600. So at that moment also we will buy the shirt. But beyond this, you see, price I'm having to pay 600, but for me the value of that shirt is 500 only. So I will not pay. I will not pay here. So what we will do, we will keep the money with ourselves. So we'll save money. We'll save money at this point, at this juncture. Very good here. Very good. Now, so what about the diagram? You haven't shown us the diagram yet. Alright friends, now let us discuss the diagram. Let us now discuss the diagram. Okay. So pay attention everyone. I am discussing the diagram with you all. Okay. And from this diagram only, I'll also explain to you. Yes, let's divide it into two parts. Okay. So here I am drawing the diagram. Pay attention. You see, here there is price and MU. Here there is price and MU. Here there is price and MU. Okay. So pay attention everyone. See, we will also calculate consumer surplus here. Okay. So don't worry about the same. Okay. Here we will also calculate consumer surplus. So don't worry about the same. Please pay attention. Okay. Yes, sir. See, price being constant, the price line is a parallel line. You see here, it is the price line. Price being constant, it is a parallel line. But what about MU, sir? What is about MU, friends? So friends, think this is quantity level and this is marginal utility. And marginal utility, like you all know, MU curve is always downward sloping because of law of diminishing marginal utility. MU curve is always downward sloping. So guys, you have a look here carefully. At this point, the white point that I've shown, at this point we are in equilibrium. This quantity level is actually 3 units and this point is basically the equilibrium point. This is called the equilibrium quantity and this is called the equilibrium point. So this is how the diagram looks like. Is it crystal clear, friends? Come on everyone. Is it crystal clear? Correct. So equilibrium quantity is 3 and the point where this price and this diminishing MU meet is called the equilibrium point. Sir, it's clear. Very good. So now moving on, if it's crystal clear, then moving on. Sir, calculate consumer surplus. I'll shade for you consumer surplus as well. So don't worry about the same. I'll shade it for you as well. Okay. See, here, what did I say? Consumer surplus is what basically? What the consumers are paying is subtracted from what they are ready to pay. So here the consumer was ready to pay 800 for the first shirt. But how much he is having to pay? They are having to pay only 600. So yes, my dear friends, you are correct. The consumer surplus is 200. Can you guys tell me what is the consumer surplus at the second level? That is, if we purchase the second product. Can anyone tell me this answer? Come on, everyone. Yes, very good. Sir, it's 100. It's 100. Why? Because the consumer is willing to pay 700, but they are having to pay 100 only. I mean 600 only. So they are saving extra 100. Here they are ready to pay 600, they are paying 600 zero. And beyond this, there is no consumer surplus because they are not buying only. We are not buying only. So don't write negative. You will just put a cross or you'll put a dash because it's not possible only, because it's not possible only because you are not buying at that level. If you're not buying at that level, why are you marking or why are you doing anything, sir? Okay, sir, we got it, sir. We got it, sir. So now here till here it must be clear. Now they may ask you to shade the consumer surplus part, not shade exactly which part is the shaded, which part is the consumer equilibrium part. You see the part before you have achieved the equilibrium, that is this area. This area represents the consumer surplus. You see, because after this area you are not only purchasing the commodity, so how can there be any surplus? Oh, so consumer surplus is always before the equilibrium point, not after. Consumer surplus is always before the equilibrium point, not after. Consumer surplus is always before the equilibrium point, not after. Please remember this, everyone. So consumer surplus, note, consumer surplus is always till the equilibrium point. Why? Because beyond the equilibrium point, how can there be surplus? Because the consumer is not purchasing the item only beyond that point. If the consumer is not purchasing the item only, how the hell can there be any surplus? So consumer surplus is always till the equilibrium point, is always till the equilibrium point. Got it, sir. Now we are going to study the applications, like the uses and the limitations of studying this concept of consumer surplus. The concept of consumer surplus, what advantage out of studying the same and what disadvantage out of studying the same, we are going to capture the same. So let's begin the attack. Come on, everyone. Yes, you can have a graph coming in exam from which they can ask MCQs. Okay, so pay attention, everybody. That's why I always draw graphs. That's why I always draw graphs. Pay attention, everyone. Applications. Now we are studying applications of the, what application means, uses. What is the benefit of studying the law, law of DMU, or studying the consumer surplus concept? Okay, number one, you are able to, as a business, if you know that this point will lead to consumer surplus or consumer is ready to pay this much, then it will help you in setting the prices, because a business knows if they are setting prices which are higher than the benefit that the consumer will derive. Let's say, for example, you need to go to play a sport, okay, around. Now if the businesses know that to play a sport, consumers to buy a jersey or a t-shirt, they are maybe ready to pay 400 or 500. Now if they are keeping it 5,000, maybe people may extend for a good brand to till 2,000. But if they are keeping it 5,000, most will not buy. Most will not buy. Why they will not buy? Because they are setting prices which are way higher than the marginal utility. And as you know, when the price is greater than marginal utility, an MCQ question for you all, then we will come back to the application. If price is greater than marginal utility, consumer should A, buy the product, not buy the product, both, D, none. What say, guys? What do you think? I'll come back to the application point after you answer this question. I'll come back to the application point. Wow. Atharva, Siva, very good. Jasraj, immediate answer you all gave. Very good. Correct answer is that if you are having to pay, see, what is marginal utility? It is the value you derive from purchasing that commodity. It is the numerical expression of the value that you derive from using that commodity. It's the numerical expression of the value or the benefit that you are deriving from the consumption of that commodity. But if you are having to pay more than the value you are deriving, naturally you will decide not to buy. Naturally you will decide not to buy. Exactly my point. Don't buy the product. Naturally, the answer would be not buy the product. Don't buy the product. Absolutely correct, friends. Very, very good. So here you are. Absolutely correct. Now moving on. So to this application point, let's come back again. To this application point, let's come back again. So the first application point is that one will be helped, that businesses will be able to set prices if they are aware of the concept of consumer surplus. If they are aware of the concept of consumer surplus, you know, it is helpful when doing large scale investment, because you know, when you are doing large scale investment, you want to ensure that customers will buy your product. So large scale investment is facilitated when they know what to produce. Okay. 3, you will be able to know what is the value of consumer welfare. That is, consumer surplus measures consumer welfare. Na? More the surplus, more the happy consumers are. So you'll be able to assess the consumer welfare level. Number 4, many times businesses want to raise their prices. So knowledge of consumer surplus helps them in raising the prices. Helps them in raising the prices. Helps them in raising the prices. What do you mean, sir? It helps them in raising the prices. I'll give you an example, friends. I'll give you an example, friends. Please pay attention, okay? In the above case, the business knows that the price is 600, the consumers are still having surplus. So if they are deciding to move to price to 700 also, they know that there are consumers who are willing to pay for this, because then also they are deriving some satisfaction. So consumer surplus knowledge helps you in raising the prices, but there are certain demerits also, because now what are the demerits, sir? If there are so good points about consumer surplus, are there any bad points too? Yes, friends, there are some bad points too. Could you highlight some, sir? Absolutely, I am highlighting. Please wait. So friends, the thing is, there are some limitations to it. Sir, what are the limitations to it, sir? I'll tell you. Limitations of studying consumer surplus. Limitations of studying consumer surplus. I'll tell you what the limitations are. Friends, limitation number 1. Friends, limitation number 1. Limitation number 1. It's not possible to measure properly. You know, consumer surplus is just an estimate. It is not possible to exactly calculate it. Not possible to measure. Next, for necessities, you see, marginal utility is infinite. So if marginal utility is infinite, consumer surplus will always come to infinite, which is not logical. Sir, what do you mean with this second point? You see, consumer surplus is basically measuring the difference between what the consumers are ready to pay minus what they are actually paying. Now you see, in case of necessities, consumers may be willing to pay a very high amount, because if they are not buying their necessities, then they are not able to survive in life. So basically, the price that they are willing to pay is high, which they are calling as infinite. And since they are calling it infinite, and whatever their price they are paying, the difference will also be infinite. Infinity minus anything is infinity. And that's what they are saying, which is a bit absurd. Okay. Now, here we are calculating consumer surplus, but it might happen that consumer surplus is also affected by substitutes. Consumer surplus might also be affected by substitutes. Sir, what do you mean by consumer surplus might also be affected by substitutes? What do you mean, sir? Sir, what do you mean by consumer surplus is also affected by substitutes? I'll answer it for you, friends. I'll answer it for you. Fatafat, friends. See, consumer surplus affected by substitutes, it simply means pay attention. It is written consumer surplus is affected by, let's say I am deciding to buy this shirt. Now it may happen that a shirt or another product, maybe a t-shirt, is available. Obviously you know that t-shirts can substitute a shirt. So maybe I am buying less shirt to buy more of t-shirt. So because of t-shirt, the consumer surplus in shirt cannot be calculated or estimated exactly. That's what they are trying to say here. Okay. Number 4. We are in the world where we are thinking that marginal utility can be expressed in terms of money. That is, we are in the cardinal world. We are in what world? We are in the cardinal world. But guys, what about the ordinal world? This theory, as per other economists, do not apply to the ordinal world. Economists say that this theory is not applicable. This theory is not applicable to the ordinal world, where it is assumed that utility cannot be measured in terms of money. Because you see, how do you calculate consumer surplus? Money, they are ready to pay. Money they are ready to pay, which is called marginal utility, minus they are actually paying, which is price. But in reality, it is based on the premise that marginal utility can be measured in terms of money. What if it cannot be expressed in terms of money? Then you will not be able to compute consumer surplus. This is the demerit. That you can calculate consumer surplus only when you can express marginal utility in terms of money. Otherwise not. So now, moving on to some MCQ based questions, everyone. Are we ready, everybody? Yes, sir, we are. So let's pay attention. Let's focus on some MCQ questions. Let's see. Again, another 2 to 3 mark questions I'll ask. Let's see who is able to answer. I am drawing a graph here. Pay attention, everyone. Pay attention. I'll ask you a question. Pay attention. Okay. Now my question is, part 1. Which area shows consumer surplus? Which area shows consumer surplus? You have the following options. Option A, area A. Option B, B. Option C, area C. Option D, none of the above. Next question you have is, what is the equilibrium quantity? Option A 1, option B 2, option C 3, option D 4. Question number 3. 3 marks questions I am setting. Okay. Question number 3. Equilibrium condition in one commodity world is A, price equals to marginal utility, price is greater than marginal utility, price is less than marginal utility, D, price is not equal to marginal utility. Guys, 3 questions. Come on, start solving. Again of 3 marks. Let's see how much you score. Come on, everybody. Come on, come on, come on, everyone. Come on. Let's see how many of you score 3 out of 3. Okay, very good, very good, very, very good. I can see it clearly that most of you are giving correct answers. So let me help you. Which area shows consumer surplus? So absolutely well said, everybody. It is the area A. It's the shaded area A that's showing consumer surplus. Very good. What is the equilibrium quantity level? Absolutely correct. It is 0.2. Question number 3, where does equilibrium condition happen? So it's correct if your answer is price is equals to marginal utility. Price is equals to marginal utility. That is the point. Correct. Next question everyone. I am asking you all, please pay attention. I'm asking you all the next question. Let's see how many of you are able to answer that correctly. That in a two commodity world, equilibrium is arrived at. Equilibrium is arrived when option A, price is equals to marginal utility, B, MUX by PX equals to MUY by PY, C, both, D, none. Come on everyone, answer this one. Come on everyone. In two commodity world, what is the equilibrium condition? And then we'll have a discussion. Okay, you are correct. Guys, remember that when we are talking about a two commodity world, it's in this particular case, we say that equilibrium is achieved when MUX by PX is equals to MUY by PY. MUX by PX equals to MUY by PY. That's the correct case. That's the correct thing. That's the correct thing, guys. Everyone. Okay. Another question that I have for you all. Let's see whether you are able to answer the same or not. Let's say whether you are able to answer the same or not. Okay, sir, please ask the question. Let's see. If MUX is greater than PX, consumer should buy, not buy, can't say, D, none. Which one is your answer? Come on, everyone. So 5 questions in the end also we have discussed. Let's see. Come on here, everyone. Okay, yes, you're absolutely correct. Because you see, you all are absolutely correct. Because you are stating that, sir, when marginal utility is greater than price. Yes, so indeed you are absolutely correct that when MU is greater than price, the consumer is deriving more satisfaction from consuming that respective commodity. And so you people are absolutely bang on correct while stating that yes, he or she must decide and go ahead with buying the commodity. He or she must decide and be, happy enough to buy the commodity. So there it is. What should we do? We should go ahead and answer the question. They should buy the commodity. Why? Because, the value satisfaction that you are gaining out of taking the commodity is much more than keeping the money. So therefore you all are correct. So guys, to summarize the discussion of today, let's summarize the discussion of today. Okay, because today we have been able to complete the cardinal approach completely. Next class, ordinal approach, and the topic will be over. So first let's summarize. Today at the very beginning, we discussed what is want. We studied desire plus effort is want. We studied the characteristics of wants. Wants are unlimited. Wants vary from time to time. Okay, and stuff like that we discussed. Number three, what is utility? Okay, now types of wants. There are three types of wants. Necessities, luxuries, and then there is something called comfort. Okay, then we studied meaning of utility, want satisfying power of a commodity. Then we studied total utility, which means total satisfaction, marginal utility, additional satisfaction. Whenever there is marginal, you will remember the word additional. Whenever there is word marginal, you will remember the word additional. I'll repeat again, guys. Whenever there is marginal written in the question paper, you will remember the word additional. Marginal means due to one additional unit. Due to one additional unit. Okay. After that, we discussed that equilibrium means a point where the consumer is achieving maximum satisfaction. What is equilibrium? Point of maximum satisfaction for the consumer. How to arrive at equilibrium? There are two approaches: cardinal approach, ordinal approach. As per the cardinal approach, the equilibrium can be arrived in two kinds of worlds: single commodity, double commodity. Single commodity world condition is price is equals to marginal utility. Double commodity world, the condition is MUX by PX equals to MUY by PY. Correct? Moving on. After that, we studied the different assumptions of law of DMU. First of all, what is law of DMU? Law of DMU states that as we purchase more and more of a commodity, our marginal utility keeps on falling. When TU rises, MU falls. When TU is max, MU is 0. When TU falls, MU negative. We studied this. Okay. After that we studied the different concepts related to law of DMU, like assumptions of DMU, wherein we studied that there should be continuity in consumption, unit should be of standard size. Okay, there is no change in tastes and preferences, money has constant utility. Then we studied limitations and exceptions. Limitations of the law was basically of the law of DMU was that it is based on a lot of unrealistic assumptions, and it is dependent, like the consumption of tea may be dependent on availability of sugar. Okay, and then exceptions, where we studied items like jewelry, habits, hobby. All these are not covered, are not luxury, are not covered under the law of DMU, because the more you have these items, the better satisfaction you gain out of the same. All right, so there it is, you get this point as well. Then eventually moving up, we discussed things further. What further things did we discuss, sir? Beyond this, friends, we discussed that we must remember that one commodity world condition is price equals to marginal utility. Two commodity world, MUX by PX equals to MUY by PY. Consumer surplus is what, sir? We studied that consumer surplus is basically benefit remaining with the consumer. How is it calculated? Marginal utility minus price. That is the price that the consumers was ready to pay minus price that they are actually paying. Only when it is positive that we consider. Negative consumer surplus is no logic. We don't consider. My dear friends, that is it for the day. Next day, we will complete our ordinal approach, also called indifference curve analysis. Goodbye, everyone. That's it for the day. Thank you very much. Okay. Bye bye, everyone. Thanks for the day.